Hi, I'm Jason from StrataGames. Today we're playing some more Pauper. This is Dimir Control by Barf. He's a prolific grinder and often at the top of the leaderboards for Pauper trophies. And I think the creator of this version of the deck, certainly this list was ripped straight from him. It's a couple months old, but still looked like a pretty solid list. So this is kind of like a classic Dimir fairies list, but there's quite a bit of changes. The main thing being we don't play any ninjas, and also we don't play any fairies except for the spell stutter sprites and sneaky snackers, so no fairy seer or anything like that. But spell stutter can still just be a very nice 2-for-1 if it counters a 1-drop. Even though we only have snackers, they're actually obviously quite resilient if we're able to bring them back. So even if they try to remove one of our fairies, we can maybe bring one back in response to still get the trigger from the spell stutter sprite. A lot of our deck is built around using snacker to its full potential. One of the best ways to do that is Modern Age. That's a little bit better. Modern Age can discard the snacker, and then you only need one more draw in that turn to be able to bring back the snacker. That can be from another Modern Age, it could be from a Preordain, it could be from a Monarch. Whatever it is, you can definitely get your snackers back with that. We also just have Brainstorms, Lorien Revealed, and Focus the Mind, and Deep Analysis as a one-of to be able to bring back the snackers. So just a million ways to bring them back. Shouldn't be too hard. As far as other threats, we do have Thorn of the Black Rose. Not much of an attacker, but this can give us a big card advantage, which is a great way for us to win the game. And a couple Gurmag Anglers can be a really great way to finish out the game quickly, or just sit back as an enormous blocker. We also play a one of Unexpected Fangs in the main deck. Great on a Gurmag Angler, that's our best target, but even if we just throw it on a snacker and can attack for 3 lifelink in the air, it can be pretty good there too. As far as removal, we have 3 cast downs, 4 snuff outs, a nice amount of cards to remove creatures so that we can keep that Monarch. And we also have 4 counter spells, the 4 spell stutter sprites, a dispel, and a spell pierce, making for 10 counter spells, 7 removal spells, so a nice swath of cards. As far as lands, we have 18 in addition to 4 Lorien Revealed, 2 Bojuka Bogs, 4 Contaminated Aquifers, a one of Seething Landscape, which is mostly for Brainstorm, mostly islands, and then a one of Swamp in case we need the black source. We can get it off a landscape. And then from our sideboard, we have one of Murmuring Mystic for any sort of control matchup, 5 Hydro or Blue Elemental Blast effects. We're a little soft to a mono red opponent, so these can be really important. A couple of Nulls, an Arms of Hadar, one of Mind Extraction. I obviously love this card. I played a whole goofy deck around it a couple months ago, but it's actually pretty interesting here. It can just be a powerhouse against any mostly blue or black deck, and if we sacrifice a snacker to it, it's not even a big deal. We can bring the snacker back, and if they're blue and black, we can take pretty much every card from their hand, so that could be really interesting. Another Unexpected Fangs for the Anglers, 2 Extracted Confession, and 2 Nile Spell Bombs. So I've been wanting to play this deck for a couple months, and it only took everybody else dropping it for me to finally give it a try. So let's jump into a league and see how we do. All right, we're on the play here. We got both Bojuka Bogs, no blue source. I don't think that's going to work. And we have no lands. And this hand looks pretty terrible too. So I don't, yeah, maybe we draw a Swamp, and then this is decent. We just keep removal and snackers, but I just don't think it's going to be good enough. So we're going to go down. Oh, look, once again, we have our Bojuka Bogs. We actually have a Lorien, though, so we can keep this one. We don't have a Swamp for Snuff Out. Get rid of Dispel. Get rid of Bojuka Bog. What a great start. Play a Bojuka Bog and pass. They're on Mardu something. We're going to cycle the Lorien, and nothing to play for just a blue, so might as well get an Aquifer. They got a Lembas. Mardu Synth is certainly my guess for what they're playing. Another Spell Stutter. I think we just got to go with the Modern Age. Deep Analysis was a great draw. No land is unfortunate, but I can draw some more later. They have a Bridge and a Wildfire immediately. Annoying. We draw our island and another Modern Age. I think we'll get rid of this Modern Age. And let's see. Is it worth leaving up Spell Stutter? Because they could go with a Synth, but then what are the chances they just have like a removal spell? I think actually we'll just Deep Analysis here. Yeah, and then next turn I can hold a double Spell Stutter if I want, or maybe just play a Modern Age. They do start with a Synth for a Wildfire. Nice hit. They cast the Wildfire, and they play a Skyfisher. Pick up the Lembas. Flip our Modern Age, another island. Yeah, I think we just try to leave up Spell Stutters. It's tough because we can't play Focus the Mind no matter what. So I could just play Modern Age, leave up 1 Spell Stutter, and then the next turn I can play another Spell Stutter with Focus the Mind. I guess that might be a little better. I like double Spell Stutter because if they go with a Synth, which obviously they have one on board, or a Glint Hawk, try to counter it, then they may have the Bolt. I counter that, and we get a little bit of advantage back. But it might be better to just get the second Modern Age going, I suppose. Now we can pitch a land. Play a Black Mage's Rod, and then Galvanic Blast on the Vector Glider, because they just got Metalcraft. I guess that's worth trying to counter. It's a 1-drop, and keeping this back is pretty good. Plus, if it resolves, then we have a spell setter on 2 next turn. Well, if it resolves and survives. Unfortunately, they have the second Galvanic Blast, so they're able to pick them both off, which is pretty annoying. And they cast the Lembus, they can get in for 2, so we're down to 12. And they have a Bajuka Bog, luckily not super relevant at the moment. Counterspell's not bad, and then we draw Thorn of the Black Rose, which we need this land so that we can play a spell set or a counterspell and the focus, and Thorn just does not look great right now because we don't really have a way to hold off this Skyfisher, so we'll just discard that. I mean, they're getting low-ish on cards, so maybe once we have the Modern Age flipped and stuff, Thorn would be okay, but I just think I like these 3 better. They have a Glint Hawk. I mean, I think I spell setted that. Ideally, it works. If they have a removal spell or something, we can counterspell the Bolt. Then we're not using Focus the Mind, but I think it's worth trying. All right, that worked. That was very good. They do have a Synth anyway, and they get a Swamp. Definitely better than the Glint Hawk resolving. They crack another Synth, get a Wildfire, but they'd exile the Swamp, so they can't play the Wildfire unless they have a Mountain. Okay, not terrible for us. Swing with the Skyfisher, we gotta take it. We are down to 8, which is not great. Flip this, and we have an Aquifer, which we're gonna keep to discard to the focus, potentially, in case we draw 3 spells. I think I'm just gonna leave it up. I could do it now, but I'd rather bluff counterspells or something, so that they at least have to think about it. They cast down the Vector Glider. I guess that's gonna work. So we're definitely just dead to a Bolt here. And yeah, I guess I'm just gonna take it. Crack the Synth, and they get a Galvanic Blast. How lucky for them. Alright. They do have Cast Down, but a lot of Galvanics and Lightning Bolts, so I think Murmuring Mystic feels good. A Null is obviously good. I already have a Fangs in the main deck, which is good on a Gurmag. I think just one's fine. Arms of Adar seems decent. Better than, like, Snuff Outs. And a couple Blue Blasts feels decent as well. In fact, they have Synth, Galvanic, Synth and Cleansing Wildfire and Galvanic and Lightning Bolt, and they're probably going to bring in Red Blasts. So I actually think Blue Blasts, like, a lot of them feels fine. So in that case, we can take out maybe a Spell Pierce and Dispel, Preordain. Thorn doesn't feel great, because they can just fly over it, which means we don't need the Snuff Outs quite as badly. Alright, this is just a reasonable hand, and we don't have to mulligan to 4. I mean, I think we were doing decently, considering we lost 3 cards at the beginning of the game. I think if we hadn't, we would have had a good shot at that one. They mulligan once, play an Aquifer, and pass. Start with a Bridge. We just get a Gurmag. Ugh, so I could just hold up Counterspell, which would be good for, like, a Cleansing Wildfire, or I could just play a Snacker, which helps a future Spell Stutter Sprite, and just starts getting in. Yeah, I think I'd prefer to counter other things than a Wildfire. Wildfire is good, but maybe I'd prefer a Synth, Glint Hawk, Skyfisher, etc. And it's possible they'll just, yeah, have a Bridge here, in which case counter-spelling would have been a waste. So now we can just hold it up and start swinging for 2. If they Synth, we'll probably counterspell. Now if they Wildfire, I probably will counterspell. Lembus is tough. They could be looking for a land, but they could already have one. But it is something they can pick up. And I do want to get cards in our graveyard for this Gurmag. I think we'll just counterspell, try to be aggressive with these. They do have the land, which is fine. We have another Snacker. I can't play this Focus the Mind, so we're just going to play out another Snacker. We can bluff a counterspell here. Another Lembus, that one obviously resolves. They tapped all their white for it, which is interesting. They might have a Refurb. Indeed. A little annoying because I kind of want this land for this Focus the Mind, but I'm not discarding a Gurmag and I'm not discarding the Focus, so that's the one that's gone. Unexpected Fangs. I don't want to Fangs a Snacker at any point because they can kill it a lot easier than a Gurmag. We will swing. They're just going to take it. I guess I just got to pass. Gurmag is 1 mana too much, so is Focus the Mind, and Fangs is kind of a waste, so pretty annoying. I guess I could have Fangs to there so that I could get a Gurmag out next turn. That doesn't seem great to me. Swing with a Refurb. I really hope they don't have like an Okiba Gang or something. They don't. They do just have a Glint Hawk. Pick up the Familiar. Play it again. Well, this is going to take the Fangs, which lets us get Gurmag down next turn. And another Refurb is pretty annoying. I really wish we'd just gotten like a Preordain, or I really wish we'd just drawn like a Brainstorm so I could have Focused the Mind here. I guess my question is, do I just want the card draw that I can't actually for sure play? I guess it's just the Gurmag. They don't have a Cast Down or something, it could be good against them. Blue Blast isn't terrible. We're just going to swing, see if they want to trade. If they don't, we just put them to 8, which isn't bad either. They do decide to. Unfortunately, we don't actually have a way to get them back right now. But we don't have to exile them with the Gurmag. And this Blue Blast will probably just take like the first synth it sees. Or nothing at all, I suppose. There's the synth after. Pretty annoying. Skyfisher picks up the synth. They get a bridge. Pretty lucky for them. I guess we need like... Not that. Deep Analysis would have been our best draw, because it gets back our snackers. They chump. We do have Lorien revealed, so I'm going to play the Aquifer. They synth again, get a Wildfire. First they play a Rod, then they're going to Wildfire. And swing for 4. Spellstutter Sprite. Cannot catch a break. A Brainstorm would have been a great draw. Into a Spellstutter Sprite maybe, because then we'd have like a Spellstutter on 3 guys. Another Rod, can't do anything about it. And another Rod. Amazing. And a Skyfisher. Pick up the 3rd Rod. I mean, I think we just cast this. We're dying, so I kind of need it as a blocker. Really wish we had that Unexpected Fangs, but I know it was our only copy in the deck. Well, in the main deck. Jukabog's irrelevant, and we're going to die. Not a great start, I'll admit. On the play again, and we finally have a reasonable-ish hand. Start with an Aquifer. We start with a Colony Garden. Island. Okay. I think I'm just gonna hold up Counterspell and Spell Pierce and everything from the get-go. No reason to Preordain or Modern Age here, because if they want to just like send off a Fanatical Offering or a Lembas or something, I can just Spell Pierce. I'm assuming it's just some variation of Gardens, and we will indeed take that Wellspring. Part of me wants to cycle the Lorien now, but also if we end up drawing a lot of lands, it would be nice to have. So I think I'll keep it. And just Bojuka Bog them. I think I'll hold up Counterspell again. Pretty sure that I heard a little bit about Barf's strategy when playing this deck, which was Counterspell the card draw, like Wellspring. I mean, I'm going to Spell Pierce as Wellspring anytime I can, but also like use up a full Counterspell to get a Wellspring or like a Fanatical or something like that. Generally, in my opinion, you go after the payoff pieces, but it's like if they just draw too much, maybe you can't get there. Now I'll cycle the Lorien because I would like to play this Modern Age and hold up Counterspell still. So I don't mind doing that. Focus the mind. Let's play Modern Age. I don't think we're going to need a Snuff Out against a Gardens opponent. Most of their creatures are going to be black. It's possible that they'll have a Black Mage's Rod or something, which the creature is actually colorless, so we could Snuff Out, but I'm not too worried about that. Cycle a Troll for a Swamp. We know they still have a Colony Garden in hand. They duress us. Yeah, I guess we got to Counterspell that. They can already take it, and if we just let it go, there's nothing else we can cast with that mana, so might as well preserve our cards and make it so they don't know what we have. Troublemaker Oof, cast with Bargain in the main deck to get the Modern Age. Definitely annoying. Plains. So I could Modern Age and then focus the mind. That seems decent. They might just have another Troublemaker Oof, but can't really do anything about that. Throne of the Black Rose feels like it could be good in this matchup. Assuming I can clear their creatures. So I think I might actually just get rid of this Preordain. So we're going to draw more cards here. And next turn, I could... They actually do have a non-black creature. So I could actually just, next turn, Gurmag, Thorn, and Snuff Out. So I think I might just get rid of this Modern Age. So that feels solid enough. Maybe I should just Snuff Out now while they can't sack it to anything. They could have an Avenging Hunter. Yeah... It's just 2 damage, I guess, and yeah, they can maybe sacrifice it if they have the mana up, but it's also probably not getting back past our Thorn or our Gurmag, but the fact that they could have an Avenging Hunter is definitely relevant. I haven't really seen anything that leads me to believe this is, it could be like Packdoll or Black Mage Rod Gardens, which is more modern, or it could be like more traditional gardens, and I haven't really seen anything either way. Fanatical Offering the plant, and they're going to pass. Another Snuff Out, and a Bojuka Bog. I think we can get rid of a Snuff Out, because if we're drawing more cards with this Thorn, then ideally, we'll probably want the land, is my thought. But it's possible actually having 2 Snuff Outs would have just been best for keeping our Monarch, but I'm also just not sure if they're going to have 2 non-black creatures still. If they cast down something on the end step, I'll probably Snuff Out the Oof, and they do. Cast down the Gurmag, so we'll just get rid of that, because if they get rid of the Thorn, obviously they could take the Monarch, and that's not going to be good for us. Luckily, they sacrificed the plant, because if they still had it, they could actually map onto it, and assuming it gains a power, kill the Thorn, and they could take the Monarch that way. Insight away the map. They might very well have their own Thorn of the Black Rose in their deck as well, which is relevant to keep in mind. Refurbished Familiar, 3 mana, annoying. We do get a blocker for it with the Modern Age, but we lose our Brainstorm. If they can kill the Modern Age, then they can get past it. Snuff Out does not take care of the Familiar. Maybe if I draw like a Cast Down in the end step, I can kill it. And I will if I do that. Nope. There's the Cast Down. They take the Monarch. They have a Colony Garden. Well, that can prevent us from getting the Monarch, so I guess we're going to hope they don't have removal and kill that, and then try to take it back with a Thorn. We're going to Brainstorm. Try to get something good. Dispel and Snacker are fine, although the 2 lands that we can't get off of the top of our deck are pretty annoying. Suffocating Fumes, just to reduce the power. Well, now that we've Brainstormed, we actually have the Dispel for it. I don't know if this is really worth it, because it's not actually killing our guy. But this lets us take the Monarch. Might have been better to save it for removal on like the Snacker, but they clearly don't have removal, at least full removal. Luckily the Fumes doesn't hit the Snacker now unless they have another one, which they offering away a Vault, offering it the map again. We play the Vault, they have a Wellspring, and they just pass. Of course we know we're just drawing this. Swing for 1 on the ground, and we'll draw our card from the Monarch. They have an Eviscerator's Insight on the Wellspring, draw a million cards. Now we get a Counterspell. I mean, that's not terrible. They duress us. We might as well Counterspell so that they might try to take our other card if they have another duress, or just be worried about it. We don't have anything else to spend the mana on. Pachuca Bog us, and they haven't killed the Snacker, which means they probably still cannot, because otherwise why wouldn't they get rid of it with that? They map onto the Familiar. Another Insight. I mean, they have Insights galore in their graveyard. I mean, luckily for us, it feels like they're just... And another one from their hand. All 4 in the graveyard. Luckily for us, it feels like they're just drawing draw spells. They finally found they're playing Go for the Throat. Interesting. Still not sure why they would Pachuca Bog us before finding the removal spell. But hey, they're at 7 cards in hand. We're definitely going to lose this one, I think. Unless we get like a Lorien revealed into some other stuff. Hey, that's a Lorien revealed. Into get back our Snacker. Gurmag, unfortunately, because of the Pachuca Bog, is a little expensive. But I guess we'll play a Modern Age. We have a Brainstorm in case the Snacker dies. I mean, you know, not in a great spot still, but a little better, actually. That was a very good turn for us. They have a Crypt Rats. Okay, so they can take the Monarch and then they can blow up the board. If they are silly enough to do that on their own turn, though, we can get back the Snacker with a Brainstorm, but I'm not holding my breath for that. Well, apparently I should have been holding my breath for that, because look at that. They're going for it right now. The only reason to do this would be if they have like another Pachuca Bog, and they do, but we have the Brainstorm. The Skirmag's not great right now. The problem is we're at 3, so if they get the Crypt Rats back, we're just going to die probably. But we can take the Monarch. We just need to find counter spells. Don't think we need the Snacker. Well, no, we can discard the Snacker to the Modern Age and get it right back with a Brainstorm. Do I want to cycle with this Lorien? Yeah, I think so. So, I guess the Focus the Mind is better than a Brainstorm. Yeah. I mean, it's more expensive. 5 plus cycle the Lorien. Or I could just play the Lorien and get these cards back. God, it's a tough call. We need to find counter spells. And we've already used 2 Pachuca Bogs. I think that's all of them. And we don't have a Dimir Aqueduct, so there's no way to get rid of their graveyard. We just need counter spells. So yeah, let's get rid of these 2. Get back the Snacker. We're going to pass. We're going to cycle this Lorien in the upkeep. Get an island. Spellsetter's pretty good. There's a counterspell. Get rid of one of these islands. I could have gotten rid of the Snacker. I guess that makes more sense and was the plan. But I actually, yeah, I guess it was dumb to do it that way. But oh well. Wasn't really thinking. We have Focus the Mind with a Spellsetter Sprite. So Focus could be like maybe a Dispel. Spellsetter for 3 is not bad. There's the Crypt Rats. Gotta hope this goes off. And if it doesn't, they have a Cast Down in response. Okay. I don't think that's quite going to work how you want it to, because then I can Focus the Mind and get it right back. Discard an island. They have another removal spell, we're going to die. But if not, Spellsetter, we still have 3 fairies. That worked, because they misplayed, which I will take. They have a 4 mana Refurbished Familiar. Okay. We'll discard an island. Modern Age. And a Fangs? Okay, that's good. Obviously, I want it ideally on the Gurmag, but actually, if we can just put it on, like, we can cast this down, put it on a Snacker, we hit for 3, we're up to 6. So even if they have a Crypt Rats off the top and a Swamp, they can still kill us, but that's the risk we gotta take. Because waiting a turn just means if they have a Crypt Rats at all, we're gonna die. So we'll do this. Attack for 6, and they concede. Oh, that was close. Obviously, they made the misplay that allowed us to win that game, but pretty happy with that outcome. And Mind Extraction feels pretty good. We sack a Snacker, we can take everything. If we sack a Thorn, it's not bad either. Murmuring Mystic for sure. And then we didn't actually see graveyard stuff, so I don't know about Spell Bombs. Annuls will be good, though, because that hits Refurb, it hits Ichor Wellspring. We didn't see Tithing Blades. They might have some Nile Spell Bombs or something from the sideboard, though, so I think those are good. We can take out all the Snuff Outs, and that's just a straight 4/4. I think Thorn is still good. It worked out really well there. They took it a couple times. We were able to get it back. Don't need Hydros or Blasts or Extract. Nile Spell Bomb. I don't think we need that. I don't mind a Fangs in the main deck. Obviously, it worked really well there. I don't think we need a second, and there's not really anything else I want to replace, so we'll just send it back like that. I still want some removal, right? So I don't want to take out all the cast downs or anything. This hand looks pretty good. Let's give it a try. Colony Garden, get a Brainstorm. We can annul if they go for a Wellspring, which we'll certainly do. If they just pass, we're going to cycle this Lorien. Then they're going to Fanatical while we're tapped out. Understandable. I think we're just getting an island here because I'd like to play Modern Age. Because I wanted to find a swamp. So I could pitch the Deep Analysis, but then if they just like Bajuka Bog out of nowhere, it's kind of annoying. I could actually save that to pitch next turn, in which case maybe we just get rid of this Brainstorm. I think that's fair. Just no reason to potentially lose the value of the Deep Analysis. Refurb, well, they're doing this before they play a land, so now I want to discard the Analysis, but then if they Bajuka, it's really annoying. This next turn, I think I'm playing Deep Analysis from the grave, and then holding up a Null. We have another Thorn in the deck. They have a Refurb. We have no removal for it, and not a ton in the deck at this point, so I actually think we'll just get rid of the Thorn. And they just have a Swamp. Fair enough. Nothing else, okay. Snacker. Well, that is now annoying, because now I want to discard the Snacker, and then, but then I can't Deep Analysis it back. I could hold the Deep Analysis, actually. I could discard Snacker, then I can hold up Brainstorm and Null, or Counterspell. And then I can discard the Deep Analysis later with the Focus the Mind. Yeah, maybe I overthought it and should have just discarded the Deep Analysis, but I was trying to, like, this is control versus control. So it's very much all about who has more value. And I didn't want to discard a Deep Analysis and then have that exiled and lose 2 cards. So now if they go for a Bajuka Bog, I can obviously just Brainstorm. Swing with the Familiar. And they got the Bog. Let's try to bring back the Snacker. That works. Another Snacker and a Spellstutter Sprite. I like that. We also want this land. I don't really care to get rid of anything here. So I guess what I'm not using right this moment is Focus and Counterspell. Well, or Deep Analysis I probably should have gotten rid of. But anyway, now if they play a 2-drop, I have a Spellstutter for it. And they just try to get rid of the Snacker in response, which makes sense. I'm going to try to Spell Stutter it. Ideally, there's no like Defile, and that works. Very nice for us. Things are shaping up. Play this Landscape. We know if Focus the Mind is on top. Attack for 3. I could just Deep Analysis now, but then we're tapped out, and we're already in a good spot. I'd prefer to hold up a Counterspell and a Null, I think. Map onto the Familiar. Find a Blood Fountain. Target acquired for this Annul. If they swing, we'll just take it. I'm happy to swing back more at them. They do. I think I am going to use this Landscape. We don't have the ability to use the Lose Focus right now unless we catch him with a Null. And I'd very much like to be able to play this Snacker and then still hold up Counterspell. Brainstorm's pretty good. We'll swing for 5. Play another Snacker. Pass. Eviscerator's Insight, a Vault on the end step. We'll let that go. They already had 4 cards in hand. I don't think this is the point where I want to be using Counterspells on card draw. Plus, then sacking a land is pretty relevant for us. Obviously, they did that whether we countered it or not, but I'm okay with them doing it, is my point. Blood Fountain. Ugh, so I can annul this. Obviously, that was the goal. But they don't actually have anything in the graveyard, and if I do, I'm susceptible to like a Suffocating Fumes to wipe all 3 of these, and then if they have a Bajuka Bog after that, well, I have Brainstorm to get back the Snackers, so that's actually not the worst. You know, for that reason, actually, I talked myself into it. I'll just annul this. I guess if they just play like a familiar, I probably would prefer to take that. But I can discard that deep analysis. I don't know. There's the fumes. Hey, I talked through it exactly. I ended up being okay with it. Rot Farm for the Bajuka Bog. They do swing, and we got our Brainstorm to get our guys back. Null and Spell Pierce. And they just concede. Yep. Snacker's coming back really good against a Golgari control deck like this. We're on the play yet again, and this hand looks pretty reasonable. I like 2 lands with, Modern Age, Snacker, all that seems really good. Plus we got 2 of our colors. Opponent already down to 5. If there's some sort of combo deck, then we probably have a pretty good matchup because we have a ton of counter spells and removal. But maybe they just got unlucky and had to mulligan twice. I mean, we did that 3 times before. It looks like usually I would think I would Jund Wildfire, but I've been seeing so much Mardu Synth, and obviously we already played against it, that I think that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. We're just going to start with the Modern Age, discarding the Snacker. Try to bring that back with a Preordain next turn. Vault of Whispers and a Black Mage's Rod. Definitely makes me think it could just be a Rakdos or Grixis Affinity or Mardu. Yeah, could still just be a lot of different things. You can just snuff this guy out. No reason to do it now. Draw a card from the Modern Age. Bajuka Bog. Not terrible. I don't think we really care about 2 of these, so we'll get rid of 1 and I'll just Preordain. Counterspell and Lorien Revealed, those both seem pretty decent, so I'll keep them. Snacker comes back, we'll play an island, leave up Counterspell, Spell Stutter, and Dispel, which is kind of our pick. Maybe I should have snuffed this out before it could deal us any damage, but they're going to attack with it. Yeah, I guess we'll snuff it out now. Snuff out definitely could vary on how powerful it is depending on what deck they're actually playing, because we still don't really know, but it's fair to use. They're going to Wellspring. I'm happy to try to Spell Stutter that. They do have the Galvanic to interrupt it. A little annoying, but that's alright. Flip our Vector Glider, swing with the Snacker. We're going to Bog and try to hold this Lorien, and, we have a 4 damage in the air. Not a terribly slow clock, and we have Counterspell and Dispel to protect them. Another Wellspring. I think we'll leave that at this point. I think we're saving these. Well, this obviously can't hit it. I think we're saving Counterspell for like a Refurb or something here. Okay. It is Grixis. We finally have our confirmation. That's a Mere Enforcer. They had to pay 1 for it, so by countering this, not only do they not get a 4/4, but also if they have any more, they actually can't play them either yet. So I think that's good. Cast down solid enough. Dispel, definitely taking the first card draw spell that we see. Another Wellspring, fair enough. There's a bridge, and they're just passing. There's a Snacker. 4 in the air. We'll play another Snacker. Speed up our clock. They have a Bargain in response. We're going to dispel that. Slow them down a little bit. Toxin Analysis, just to get the clue. Not a bad sign for us. Crack it right away. Bridge, they do have an Enforcer, but since we're in the air, we don't actually care too much about that. Spell Bomb. Not relevant unless they can finally kill these Snackers. And they're out of cards, so... And a Counterspell is going to help a lot, so... I think we just swing. I think I cast this down while they have no blockers. It's kind of tough. Maybe I shouldn't, because if they get a Refurb, they could block, but that's still lethal against them. I kind of want to cast it down now in case they get like a Reckoner's Bargain that I don't want to have to counterspell, because they're going to sack this Spell Bomb, so they're actually going to have 2 cards. So it's not like, oh, 1 counterspell definitely wins me the game here, but they do have to draw pretty well here. There's a Refurb. I do think we'll just counter that because it takes a card and it blocks. So if they have like a Fanatical on a Wellspring, it's pretty good because they can maybe draw like 2 of these or something, but they concede, so we're able to get the first game. Obviously, we get a Nulls here. Spell Bombs feel decent. Kind of a weird one. Mind Extraction, obviously they have a lot of colorless. They have some red. They have a fair amount of blue and black. Probably not worth it for the Extraction. Snuff Out, not super great here. And they're going to bring in Red Blasts and just Galvanics. Makeshift is decent, so I think we want like a couple Blue Blasts maybe. Question is, do we want Thorn? They don't play a lot of creatures. It's like 4 Refurb, 4 Mere Enforcer, and then, I mean, it could be literally just those 8, but sometimes 1 or 2 Kenkus, a Gear Seeker Serpent, of course Krark Clan Shamans, but they're probably going to take those out. These are the Snackers. I think maybe we'll just try leaving in the Thorns for now, in which case... Bang's not super necessary, but again, it's nice to have 1 as an out to them hitting us pretty hard. Maybe just 1 Red Blast, 1 fewer Cast Down. I don't really know. This is way too slow. We can counter 2 things, but nothing else. This one's better. I think we just get rid of the Fangs. We're not looking to put it on anything except for a Snacker anytime soon, and they can just take that out pretty easily. Play an Island, hold up a Null, which we'll probably use on a Wellspring if they play that here, just to slow them down a little bit. Of course, it means we can't play anything on turn 2 except for this. Cycle this for a Aquifer, but I don't know, still feels decent to me. We have a Refurb. We'll just, of course, discard the Snacker. A Thoughtcast. Okay, no second Refurb's nice. Island is good. I think we will Modern Age to try to set up getting the Snacker back. Another Focus the Mind. I think we'll get rid of the Thorn for now. The Focuses could be pretty good if we can just get to casting them. They have a Blood Fountain, can't annul that at the moment. That means Mere Enforcers can be coming down. But they Fanatical Offering, good for more land. Find a bridge, swing for 2. No Enforcers is good though. Spell Stutter and another Modern Age. Now we'll get rid of one of the focuses because, well, we're going to Modern Age to get another Snacker. We'll get our Snacker back. The Null's not bad, we're going to hold that up. But that means I think we need this focus to draw something. We don't have enough lands for it at the moment. You know, I guess we're going to get rid of it and just rely on this next Modern Age trigger and just a bunch of counter spells to try to get us there. Swing for 2. Black Mage's Rod. Oh, well, that's more creatures, essentially. I guess we can counter this, and it's not something they can get back with a Blood Fountain. It doesn't feel super important to me, but they Fanatical Offering, and they play a land, but still no Enforcers is good. Flip a Vector Glider. We get another counter spell, but now I have to choose between, oh, I can hold up 2 counter spells, or I could just have 3 total. I think I just want to have more counter spells, so I guess we're doing that. Swinging for 2 and just holding these guys up. They land. They finally have an Enforcer. We counter this. They only have 1 creature. Yeah, we're going to counter it. It's tough. They have so much mana that they could do just a bunch of other stuff with it. They have a negate. Okay, fair enough. But I think keeping this off the field is a decent plan. Map onto the Familiar. They get a bridge. So we know about that. Another island. Now we can hold up both of these. They didn't have a lot else to do, so I'm thinking they could have some Galvanics, because I could hold back Vector Gliders to double block the Enforcer. Then they're going to go for a Galvanic. I could Spell Stutter it. They go for another Counterspell. They could also just have like some Red Blasts. But I could also just go on the offensive. Attack for 4. I think with the Counterspells, we actually want to hold back. Part of me, like in general, I would want to attack in this situation. And I think I'm just like laying it out in my mind. It doesn't feel like it's going to win us the game if we do that. So I think we're just triple blocking here. That means it's going to eat 2 of these, but the Snacker can come back. And this helps us if they go for a Galvanic or something. Of course, we don't have a way to get back the Snacker right now, so if they have a Spell Bomb, that's kind of annoying. Black Mage's Rod. I guess we'll counterspell that. This also means our Spell Stutter's down to just a measly 1. Play the bridge we knew about. They bargain away a Great Furnace. Okay. Don't hate that. They play a Refurb, and that is annoying. Do I want them to draw a card, or do I just want to have a 1/1? Well, I guess that's the same thing. They can draw a card, and I can go to 1/1, or they can not draw a card. But I guess future Spell Stutters would be better. Don't really want them to draw a card. We'll just discard it. Deep Analysis. I mean, Spell Bomb's not the worst. I kind of think I need to use it right now. If we can draw into like a Preordain or a Modern Age, I can get back the Snacker. We only get 1 Mere Enforcer, but we kind of need to make something happen, I think. We get a Modern Age. I mean, that gets back the Snacker. It does just mill us a card, but that's not bad. Land and pass, so they don't have a lot going on, which is great. Modern Age triggers. Hydroblast. I think if they had a Galvanic or a Red Blast, they would have just blown up this Glider and attacked. Now, if I discard this Hydroblast, I can't really play the Modern Age to any great effect right now. But yeah, I think we're just going to do that, and I think we're just passing. I don't like giving them time to do stuff, but like my alternative is attack into them with a Snacker maybe, which they could block and then get back with the Blood Fountain. It's not terrible. Maybe I should attack with the Snacker. Well, there's another Snacker. I mean, we're lucky we'll draw into something else that can draw us a card. They just take it. That's fine too. Play Modern Age. Discard Snacker. Now this is a tough call because I think I'm just going to hold it because the upside of being able to cast it's big. But if they do get another refurb, I'm going to discard it, and I'd prefer to have the land on the field. They are just drawing a lot of lands, it seems, which is very good for us. Spellstutter's good. Fangs is not bad. I think Spellstutter's probably just better, though. Back with the Snacker. Maybe I should even go with the Vector Glider here, but then they double block pretty happily and then get them back. Yeah, I think we're fine for now. They have a Wellspring. I mean, they could have been sandbagging this, but I'm going to Spellstutter it as if it's what they just drew and we can, you know, hold them off longer, which looks like it might work. Deep Analysis. That can get back our Snacker. All right, now we're just attacking with everybody. Now I don't really care. We're going to have enough cards if they want to Blood Fountain these guys back. Not too worried. They either have to double block this, or if they want to block these, we can get the Snacker right back, so that's also good value for us. So Deep Analysis. They're at 10. 2 Snackers coming back. Unless they have instant speed. They have a Galvanic Blast. Okay. Weird that they didn't use that on a Vector Glider, but I guess they were worried about like a Spellstutter or something. And now they're going to Blood Fountain. Well, Snacker's coming back. Gurmag is decent for later too. But we are going to have to discard 2 of these to their refurbs. We know that, so probably we have the Deep Analysis in the bin. I think we're just going to keep the Gurmag. I think that's right. Reckoner's Bargain, a Great Furnace. And Mere Enforcer. Okay, not too bad for us. Brainstorm is good as well. Swing with the team. They are going to double block a Glider, which makes some sense to me. Deep Analysis here. Spell Pierce is not bad. Well, it is bad, actually. My mistake. We'll get a Gurmag down and pass. Spell Pierce could be relevant if they happen to just get like a card draw chain and then we can Spell Pierce the last thing, but looks like they severely flooded out and we were able to get there against them. Alright, this hand is not amazing, but does have 3 lands. Brainstorm can maybe help. It's not great, but I don't really want to throw it back. Just on the edge, although against mono red, it's pretty bad, I'll admit. I guess we get down the Bajuka Bog then, because that's not going to be relevant. Burning Tree Emissary into another Tomb Raider. Pretty rough start, actually, now. This is what I always felt playing against this Dimir control deck. I know it did pretty well for a while, but I always felt that it seemed like it just died. It takes 4 turns to really get good, and you're just dead by then. Like, I know this is a pretty good start from them, but I'm at 5. I don't imagine there's any way I can get out of this. Brainstorm into 3 lands. Nice. So, yeah, this has been my problem with it for a while. We get Arms of Adar, definitely unexpected Fangs, and all of our Red Blasts. We do have a lot. Maybe we can survive. But, like, look at all these cards that are bad. Snuff Out, Thorn. Gurmag's okay. It's a little slow. Deep Analysis isn't great because it costs mana. Or costs life, rather. I think Mystics might be okay. Cast Down's not even great. Like, but Annul isn't good. Thorn is bad. Guess we just keep into Cast Downs. Yeah, like, we have some decent sideboard here, but I'm worried this is going to be a very quick loss. And obviously we kept a hand that I already didn't like in the dark. I would never have kept that hand if I knew it was against mono red. This one, pretty annoying that it's all tap lands, but we do have a Blue Blast, we have Spellstutter, and Snacker's a good blocker, so we're keeping this one. Aquifer and pass. We have a Percussionist. Okay. Another Hydro. Just going to play an Aquifer and pass. Any Burning Tree we see is definitely getting countered because Burning Tree could be 2 or 3 Burning Trees into a Rally or something. Epicure I think is fine. If they just want to play nothing else, that's fine. I'll cycle this Lorien, then we can hold up a Spellstutter and a Blue Blast. If they want to bolt me here, that's also fine. Get an Island, we get a Snacker. I kind of want to get down a Snacker to block, but then part of me doesn't really like that. But then we have Blue Blast and we have a Brainstorm to get it back if it dies. You know, I think we need to. Because if we just leave up Spellstutter and Blue Blast and they kind of don't do much, then we are in kind of a bad spot. They're just going to bolt us. That's fine. I'll happily trade this with just a 1-1 since we can get it right back. Down to 13. They're going to pass. I'm going to Brainstorm on the end step. It could mean that they bolt a couple times or whatever and when we're tapped out, but they could also just Pyro this, which is fair. Yeah, maybe shouldn't have and should have tried to protect it more for that reason, but another Lorien. We'll cycle that. I think once again we'll play a Snacker and hold up a Blast. and they Galvanic this guy. I guess that's fine. Kind of annoying if they then play like a Relic of Progenitus on their turn. But what are you going to do? I want to have a counterspell for the Rally at the Hornburg, so that's what we're going to do. They swing for 1. Now this is pretty good. Island is fine. Obviously, we'd love a Brainstorm or some way to get these Snackers back, but we have a Bushwhacker. We can Spell Stutter that because its mana value is only 1. They have anything to interact with this. We have the Hydroblast for it. So we're going to come out on top, and then I'll trade for this. I don't really need this Spell Stutter Sprite. They get 1 card out of it, but we're still at 12 life, and they get a Pyroblast, so we just don't play anything blue. Well, we'll play it while they're tapped out. Preordained, we can maybe find a Brainstorm. Mystic's really good too. But if I play Mystic right... I was like, oh, I can play Mystic right now, but then they can Pyroblast it. I don't want that. So... But we do... Mystic is good, so I think we just keep them both. I could Brainstorm right now, but then they can Pyro a Snacker, which isn't a big deal. But I can also just wait until the next turn, and then I can do it, and then I can also have a Mystic to get a bird. That feels good. Synth into Tomb Raider. I mean, those are pretty good hits. We're not going to give them anything to Pyro this turn. And I think the Mystic and then double Snacker coming back is going to be plenty of value for us to win the game. There's the Mystic. We might as well just do this now, because if we get like a land and another card, I guess we only keep 1 card, but still. You know, I guess we'll keep the Modern Age. Doesn't really matter. Yep, they concede. Very, very nice. A Preordain, yeah, it was just like, here are the 2 cards that you need to win the game right away. We're on the draw. I mean, part of me wants like an annul because it's like, oh, it's so good against Synth, but it's like, that's their only artifact. That's not a land or a token or a whatever. No, Clockwork Percussion is as well, but still, only 8 targets is not going to be enough. Just going to run it back. Hope we get a similarly Blue Elemental Blast heavy hand. Hey, there's 2 right there. This hand looks great. Good lands and good stuff. Epicure is a nice start. Better than the other guy, Tomb Raider. Another Epicure, I think we just let that one go. Rather hold this for a Tomb Raider or something. Another Spell Stutter. Possible I should have just blown up one of these because 2 damage a turn is gonna add up for sure. And they bolt us. You know, they're tapped out. I'll actually just Spell Stutter this, save the 3 life, and then I can block here. If they want to bolt this, I'm not too concerned with that. They get a rally or something, that is annoying, but I don't know. I think it was a decent trade-off. Here, hold up Spell Stutter and Blue Blast. I was hoping they'd do something pre-combat, but we'll take 3 here. They Synth. We're going to Spell Stutter. That just works. Nice. Modern Age. Kind of want to keep holding up both these blasts, so I think we're going to Preordain. Arms of Hadar is good. Counterspells, not bad either. We're just going to take those both, play our Aquifer, and pass. 3 damage. I think we're going to counter it. Now that we have the Arms of Hadar, I'd rather they have to commit more to the board, and then we can sweep those away. So I'd rather spend that blowing up the direct damage. We are still going to block here to prevent damage, even if we end up Arms of Hadaring, but maybe they just like Burning Tree into something else. We'll actually let that go through since we have the arms. They do just bolt. Yeah, I think I'll counter it again. We have another counter spell coming up, and we can arms these away if I want to take the chance and tap fully out. Galvanic Blast, fair enough. They get for an extra damage. Yeah, I think we have to, because either that or we hold up counterspell, but then they hit for 3. We're down to a bolt, and we're dead if they have 2 or something. So now we just have to hope that we're alive for this turn. They discard a mountain to the blood, have another mountain, and pass to us. Okay. Ooh, tempting as it is, I don't think I'm going to Mystic tap out again. That feels really risky. So I think we're just going to Modern Age, Focus the Mind. I think we're getting rid of the focus. I still want to get this Mystic down. I just like at least a counterspell be able to use when, you know, instead. Ren's Resolve, I think we just counter that. It's not directly damaged, but the chances that it gets 1 or 2 damage spells are pretty high. This also opens up to double land. Well, we are just going to tap out for the Mystic now. Hope that we don't die. But if we don't, we can start making blockers, and ideally Brainstorm can find us some counterspells. So we're living on the edge. But Tomb Raider, they don't even attack. I absolutely would have bluffed there, because if I had a bolt, maybe I wouldn't have blocked, but that was very good for us. I don't want to tap out with a Lorien, so we're just going to Brainstorm. Now we have blockers out the wazoo. I just need to get some counterspells. That's not it. I could cycle a Lorien. Then Brainstorm again, because I'm just worried that they have one bolt and they're just looking for the next, because they didn't discard it to a blood token, so it's clearly something. I'm not even sure why they wouldn't discard the Tomb Raider, though. Because I could also just keep Island Lorien and play an Lorien, but then I could just die. Ugh, it is a tough call. I think we do this, and we hold it as an emergency button. If they try to win here, we can cycle the Lorien and then Brainstorm 3 new cards to try to find something. They play a Mountain, as opposed to keeping it for the blood token. Is pretty weird to me, because they have a Fire Blast. That's why. It doesn't kill us, right? Because there's no Lava Darts. It does put us to 1. I think it's worth cycling this and brainstorming for. Try to find a counterspell. We don't, but we find an Unexpected Fangs. Well, we're not dead yet. We're going to Fangs the Vector Glider since it has the most power. That'll get us out of a bolt range. And we don't have anything else, so we might as well play this Lorien. Maybe we can find like a Red Blast. We find 3 lands. Well, this Vector Glider could take us to victory. Here's hoping. And we don't have that slow of a clock. It's going to be about 2 turns, so I guess a Galvanic would be our worst. They get a Chain Lightning. That just offsets the Vector Glider, but yeah, Galvanic Blast would kill us. Spellstutter Sprite is great. That'll keep us alive through a Galvanic. Anything that's 1 mana. And they can't get another Fire Blast because they don't have the mountains for it. They get a Tomb Raider, and we might as well counter that. And we get there. Ooh, that was so close, especially after that game 1. I thought we were dead for sure. And then this game, we had to tap out like 2 or 3 times that I really didn't feel comfortable with. But we were able to get there, and that was pretty sweet. All right, this hand is okay. I think we're going to keep it. 3 lands is decent. Modern Age, like the things that I want in a deck like this is, first of all, I would prefer all blue sources with like 1 Contaminated Aquifer, because we don't generally have anything to play on turn 1 anyway, although this time we do have a Spell Pierce. I have a Bojuka Bog, although it looks like they might be Jeskai, maybe Jeskai Ephemerate, so the Bojuka Bog could be relevant. Plus I might want a Spell Pierce here, so we're going to leave that up. But also I want some counter spells. I do have a counter spell and a Spell Pierce, and some card draw, so Modern Age. So this hand looks okay, but I would much prefer, like, with the Modern Age, a specific card I'd like to discard, like a Sneaky Snacker or a Deep Analysis. Spell Stutter's, of course, a little bit better than a Counterspell in a vacuum. It, like, seems better. Obviously, it's not always better. So anyway, those are some of the things I'd like. They are definitely Ephemerate. So I could just hold up Counterspell here and just cast this down so they can't Ephemerate it. Not that this is the thing that they want to Ephemerate. Spell Pierce feels like I could kind of hold it for an Ephemerate Muldrifter combo. And if I cast down now, I can't really think of anything that I'd be super worried about them doing. I think we are just going to cast down. For 3 mana, I'm not super worried about anything. Next turn, we can get down to Modern Age plus hold up Spell Pierce. They cycle a Lorien for a Fjord and just play that, yeah. And they have a Preordain. So yeah, nothing I wanted to counter there. Don't mind counterspelling, or rather casting that down. Snacker's a great draw too. That allows us to Modern Age and discard the Snacker. Lorien's not a bad draw. So yeah, I wouldn't mind, honestly, if they went for a Muldrifter Ephemerate here, since I have the Spell Pierce, which they know that I could have, but I could also have a Snuff Out or something. They're just going to pass. Fair enough. We'll draw a Dispel. Not terrible. We'll discard an island. Can't get the Snacker back. If they tap out, maybe I could Lorien next turn and get the Snacker back, although I'd be tapping out, which I don't know if I love. That does mean I need to play this Bojuka Bog this turn, but I think we are going to do that because I'd like to have more untapped mana anyway. They didn't do anything, which is pretty good for us, and not even a land drop here. It's not bad either. Snuff Out's fine. Actually, Snuff Out's decent. It allows us to tap out for a Lorien and still be able to interrupt a Muldrifter combo, but they have all their mana up, and I have enough counterspells that I don't really want a Lorien when I can't protect it. I might as well just keep passing. We're in a little bit better of a position than them because we can just start attacking for 2. They have a Scred. Well, this would prevent us from being able to attack for 2. I don't have a lot else going on. I think I will dispel this. They want to fight over it. I'm not too worried about that. Although if they counterspell, I could actually Spell Pierce, which is good value. It does make it so I can't counterspell on their turn, but then if I have the Snuff Out, I'm not too worried about an Ephemerate loop. I guess I will, just because getting use out of the Spell Pierce is pretty good. They have an Augur, that's fine. Lightning Bolt, after everything I did to protect it. Yeah, it's not a big deal. This means they're tapped out of blue, so I can now lure in with no risk, get my snacker back, and then if they go for an Ephemerate because they think the coast is clear, we also have a Snuff Out. This feels pretty good. And Deep Analysis and Brainstorm, some more good cards. This down's not bad. They hold the Ephemerate, but here's the Mole Drifter. Draw 2, go for the Ephemerate, and we're gonna snuff it right out. Very good turn for us. They do hit a bridge. Might as well swing for 1, but they don't even bother. We'll attack for 2. We're just going to Deep Analysis, get some value going here. Doesn't get back a snacker or anything, but they're tapped out, and I don't want to waste all my mana. We do have another snacker here. We're going to play an Aquifer and just hold up this counter spell, or cast down. Now they have Wildfires. Not as concerned about it at this moment. Still a decent 2 for 1, but like the ramp is pretty irrelevant since they've missed land drops a bunch of times. And they suplex the snacker. In general, I wouldn't care, obviously, but this exiles it. And we have Brainstorm, so I actually think we're at 3 cards. I could cast down our own snacker. I think I'm going to try counterspelling that. They could have a Dispel or Spell Pierce, which I can't do anything about. Yep, that's fine. But if I could keep this around, I obviously think that's decent. So a little annoying, but we have another snacker. And I think I'm going to Deep Analysis, see if we can get anything else going. Bojuka Bog's not bad. Snuff Out. Play a snacker. They got enough spells in the graveyard, and we don't have a counterspell at the moment that I think I will just Bojuka Bog them in case they get an Archaeomancer. Hold our Brainstorm for when the snacker dies. Union gains them a little bit of life. A pretty steep cost. Bridge, they're going to just swing for 1. Not expecting any ninjas, so this is fine. Lorien's a good draw. They could just have a counterspell for it, and I can't really do anything about that. But they only have 2 cards in hand, so I think it's worth trying. If they go for it, I can Brainstorm in response, maybe hit a counterspell for theirs, but they don't even have it. Very nice. Okay, we'll just play an Aquifer. I'll get this Thorn down next turn. I could play it this turn, but then I only have, well, I have protection with the Snuff Out, so that's not terrible. But I'd rather have like a counterspell and cast down up as well, so we'll just wait on it. Cleansing Wildfire, not my concern at the moment. Another Wildfire. You know, not bad cards for them to chain for sure. But just, I'm going to save Counterspell for something big like an Archaeomancer, Murmuring Mystic, or even maybe like a Lorien Revealed, something that could give them a lot of value. They're going to attack for 1, Preordain. I'm going to play the Thorn and just hold back the Snacker now. I mean, I'm already like way ahead of them in value, but no sense in not gaining even more value. Spellstutter's a nice draw. They have a Lorien, I'm just going to counter that. Only I can get card draw. If they have that, then I can Spellstutter. And they concede. Yeah, I was definitely way ahead there. They missed a lot of lands on turn 5 and after, and that was pretty rough for them. Mystic is good. Spell Bombs are good. And I think 2 or 3 Blue Blasts are good. Snuff Out's great in this matchup because the life is not super relevant, and having a free way to interrupt an Ephemerate loop is really nice. Thorn seems good. Deep Analysis, honestly, our main deck seems pretty good here. I don't think we need the Fangs. Land Extraction, they are base blue, so being able to just take everything blue is pretty good, but they have a lot of counter spells, so it's kind of hard to get through. I don't know if we really need that. Gurmag might be a waste, just not a waste, but like they have a bunch of Screds that can just take it out, so I don't know if that's really what we need. Plus, if they get like a Mystic down, or they have a lot of chump blockers, so I think that's a fine one to take out. Maybe, so we have the Snuff Outs, maybe just like couple cast downs, and maybe I'll just run 2 Red Blasts. I don't know, everything feels decent here. We don't want to take out any of our card draw because it's another control versus control matchup. This hand's okay, not amazing, but I think we'll give it a try. I'm probably gonna have to sack this landscape right away to get a blue source because I'd like to have double blue. Yeah, which means we waste it for Brainstorms and stuff, but it's also there to just get blue. Snacker's a good draw because we can discard it with Modern Age, assuming it doesn't get Spell Pierced here. Snuff Out's not bad. So we'll play a Swamp just to hold up the Snuff Out, and we'll start with the Modern Age. They do have the Red Blast for it, fair enough. They got a Bridge. Thorn. I think we'll play a Snacker. I could just hold up Counterspell. That might be the right play. But if I can chip in for some damage first, I wouldn't mind that. And as before, we have a Snuff Out, so we have a little bit of interaction. They do have the Suplex. Alright, that's going to work. And a Wildfire. Wish we had our Blue Blast. Oof, double Thorn is not what we wanted when we're on 4 cards. I mean, when we're on 3 lands. If we had 4 lands, I would be fine playing one right there. Since we don't, pretty bad. They don't have anything either. Bajuka Bog is something. Hit them with that. Pass. A Lorien revealed with a Red Blast up. I think we do it. This will tap them out potentially. No, they don't. Okay. Well, then I'm very okay with it. If they had the blast, then it's not great, but looks like they're actually not drawing great either here. I could Mystic, but if they do end up having like a Red Blast or getting one, they kind of just do, or even a Scred, they can do that right away. I guess they actually Scred is pretty far. But my point is, Thorn of the Black Rose is looking to be a lot more value here than the Mystic at the moment, especially with the Snuff out. They have a Mole Drifter. They tap out of blue mana, which is interesting. Maybe they have 2 Ephemerates, or they're just like open to the possibility of having 2 Ephemerates. They Scred for 2 damage. I don't know if they realized they only had 2 Snowlands. Well, unfortunate for them. Pretty good for us. I don't want to proactively snuff out the Ephemerate or the Mole Drifter because they could have an Ephemerate. But if I'm Murmuring Mystic here, well, let's just attack with a Thorn because it can't block anyway. But yeah, I think I'm Murmuring Mystic. It seemed like they didn't have a Red Blast before, so they probably won't have it. But if they do have it, then I could still just snuff out the Mole Drifter and they'd be tapped out. If they have the Ephemerate, then we can, if they have a way to kill this, we can also just snuff out and then we'll have a bird. So it seems decent all around. They have a Mystic of their own. Okay. Okay, this is tough because I could snuff out the Mole Drifter. They probably have an Ephemerate, which means I'm not killing it anyway, but then we keep the Monarch. But I kind of want to try to kill the Mystic, which they probably have a counterspell for. But if I snuff that out, then I can chomp. If I don't snuff it out now, then they're going to take the Monarch. I also kind of want to save this snuff out for when I can focus the mind on my turn. So tough call. I guess we're going to let it resolve. Then they Brainstorm. All right, we're going to snuff out now on the Mystic. I don't want them to get a bunch of birds. If they have an Ephemerate and have to use it on the Mystic, obviously that's preferable to the Mole Drifter. They tapped out a double blue, so they'd have to have a Dispel, which is definitely a possibility. They do have the Ephemerate, and they do use it on the Mystic. I can live with that, potentially. We just need to find another Snuff out. Swing with the Mole Drifter. We'll sack a bird to keep the Monarch. Island. Well, I think we just Sneaky Snacker and then focus the mind. Try to find another Snuff out and hope this doesn't get blasted or something or dispelled, and it did. Guess we're going to play an island in case we can draw like a Dispel or a Blue Blast or something. Counterspell, but we don't have the mana for it. Yeah, slipping away a little bit. They can take the Monarch. They get to draw up to 5 cards here, which I really needed to stop and couldn't really. I guess I didn't have to go for the Mystic there. Yeah, it's tough. And then they have the Red Blast when we're tapped out, all but. And they have enough guys that even if I don't block here, I'm not going to be able to take it back, so I might as well block. We can take it back with a Thorn, but that's not great either. Ugh. It was just pretty precarious, and everything's falling apart. And they have another Ephemerate. That's pretty bad. Preordain. Cycle a Lorien for an island, and pass. Focus the mind. I guess we'll try to keep playing, but it feels rough. We can counterspell something, and then we can focus the mind to bring back the Snacker, which is decent. Question is, do we just counterspell the Ephemerate, which draws them 2? Probably not, but sure, let's do it. Counterspell in response. I guess we will focus now. All right, and they have a counterspell for that. We're going to go to the next game. Tough situation to be in. We did bring out a couple cast downs. We haven't actually seen an Archaeomancer, so we've been worried about the graveyard. I'm sure they have them because it's, you know, they're that, but like Mystic is the bigger problem here. And maybe because Thorn was worked out so well the first game, maybe we just don't want to try it now. I don't know. Thorn seems pretty good if we can just keep a Mystic under control. I'm honestly not loving Focus the Mind here. It just feels too expensive. I know it can be 3 mana, but only if you play another spell, most of which are 2, so it's still almost always 5 mana. So I think I'll cut one of those. This hand looks reasonable to start. An Aquifer. And I could play a Modern Age, but this Blue Blast is here to counter things like Cleansing Wildfire, so I think we just hold it up in case we can do that. Looks like no, but I can also just Brainstorm, cycle a Lorien. Ugh. I could just hold up Snuff Outs and go for the turn 4 Thorn. I have to hold one of these, though, so I could get rid of, like, Modern Age. I could get rid of the blast, which doesn't seem amazing at this point. Doesn't seem amazing right now. Modern Age turns into something. Yeah, I guess we'll get rid of the blast. Cycle this Lorien. Even though it worked great game 1 and it worked poorly game 2, we're going to just try to ride this Thorn out to victory, I think. Modern Age, Spellstutter's not terrible. Discard an island since we drew an extra one. They Brainstorm on the end step. They have a Fjord and the Cleansing Wildfire. Indeed. Murmuring Mystic and another Spellstutter Sprite. Oof. Okay. So I think we get rid of a Sprite. We play the Thorn, and then ideally they try to play creatures to take the Monarch, and the next turn we play a Mystic and we have Snuff Outs for their guys. And then we can make some birds. I think that's the goal. But if they go for the Muldrifter Ephemerate here, we're going to have to Snuff Out now. And then if they have a which we're going to do. They had a Dispel, it'd be rough, but it worked out. Honestly, maybe I should have thought about just letting them take the cards and then doing it on our turn to get the birds, but I didn't love that. They could just be holding up a Red Blast here, so I don't actually know if I just want to play a Mystic. I think we're just going to Bojuka Bog them and pass, hold up our Spell Stutter. I think getting a Mystic down is going to be invaluable, so I don't really want to just throw it away. Start with a Preordain. I'm not going to Spell Stutter that. I prefer to save it for an Ephemerate or a Scred or something. I do scry 2 to the top. Lucky them. Suplex the Glider. That's fine. And they're going to pass. Okay. Spell Bomb. I don't think there's anything with haste, so I think we just keep starting with this Thorn. Got Counterspell mana, so I'll just play a Spell Bomb and pass. Island. I mean, every turn that goes by that they haven't taken the Monarch, we're winning, so I'm not too concerned with it at the moment. Augur Bolas. Can't do anything about the spell on the stack. Find a Scred. Okay. And they're just going to pass on that. Get a Snacker. That's not bad. So I could now Mystic, and if that resolves, they try to Scred it, and I Spell Stutter it, but I think I want to wait. I think we're just waiting on Mystic as long as we can. The longer we wait, the better it'll be. So I think we're playing a Snacker, which is a good blocker. They have a Suplex for it or whatever, so be it. This will also let our Spell Stutter potentially deal counter a 2-drop. They are going to counterspell it. Okay. I guess they Scred this, and they think they take the Monarch, but we're going to have a Snuff Out for it. Yeah, so I could Mystic here, because then they're going to Scred, and then I could, like, get rid of this and I get Bird, but I think they Scred at the end step here. I Spell Stutter, and then if they still clear both of these, I can kill the Augur. They Ephemerate the Augur. So I can Spell Stutter that, but then they have the Scred for the Spell Stutter, so I think it will just snuff out the Augur. And then if they have a counter spell and they have to tap out, we can Spell Stutter the Ephemerate. Okay. That's pretty good for us. And we draw another Spell Stutter. That's phenomenal. They're at 4 cards, so getting a little lower. They do have a Lorien. Can't do anything about that. But they're going to pass. We get a Cast Down. We still know they have the Scred. Yeah, I think I'm just chilling. I think things are going well, and ideally they'll keep going well. And I'm happy to Lorien at probably 7 mana when I can hold up the Spell Stutter, but not quite yet. Another Lorien. Well, that is annoying, because we don't have a counterspell for that either. So in general, and in theory, the Monarch, as long as we have it, we're winning, and like winning more, but like if they get enough value in other ways with like Loriens, you know, they're up to 7 cards. It's pretty good. Don't think we want to do anything though, so it's fine. We get a Lorien. The other thing is if I play a Lorien and then they have like a counter spell and I have to Spell Stutter it, well, they have the Scred, so it's not even going to work. But also, I don't want to fight over stuff like that on my turn. So, yeah. Alright. We're just chilling. I don't want to make the first move and then get punished. That's for sure. They cycle a Perilous Landscape. I could cast down the Augur, but I think we're saving this removal for like something scary like a Mystic. Counterspell's a good draw. Cleansing Wildfire is fine. They're going to pass. Get a Swamp. That's 8, so I can now play Spell Stutter with... I can now play Mystic with Spell Stutter and Counterspell backup. Still feels like it's going to die. I don't want to start discarding to hand size, but I think if I lead on the Mystic, I think I'm going to lose, because I think it's whoever does something first here is going to lose. So let's not do something first. Could just cast this down on the end step. If they have an Ephemerate, it's kind of annoying. But it's either that or discard something, and I don't really want to do that. And maybe it goes through, you know. And that worked. Maybe I should just discard a Lorien Revealed because I'm not really worried about drawing more cards at this point, but I don't know. There's a Muldrifter. Is that something I'm really concerned about? It is a creature we have to deal with as far as attacking in, but we can block it with Mystic, guys. And they already have a million cards. I think it's fine. Usually, I mean, the reason it's good is it draws them cards, but they're at 9 cards. They're going to have to discard anyway. Or cast more things. Play a Landscape. Like, we've had the Monarch almost this entire game, and we have 8 fewer cards in our deck. So I could try to fight over this Muldrifter here with, like, Cast Down. It allows them to not discard a card, but if I do this, then I can maybe get a Mystic down on my turn if they've tapped out a little bit. If they Ephemerate, they'll just have to discard more cards. But I also don't want to use up my removal spells on not a Mystic, I feel like. Ugh. What a riveting game this is. Tough spot to be in. They discard a Brainstorm. We get an island. I guess this might be the time to play a Muldrifter. Muldrifter. Now they got me saying it. Murmuring Mystic. I don't really know if it is. Seems okay to me. They have a Counterspell, and we will Counterspell back. They have a Dispel, and we can Spell Stutter Sprite. They have a Red Blast, and I can't do anything about that. They Scred the Thorn. They don't, so they're tapped out of white, so I can snuff out the Muldrifter now. They could have a Dispel, but that's just about it. So, yeah, that feels reasonable. Is they're going to have this Ephemerate come back? No, is that even one that's rebounding? I don't know. I don't think so. They crack their Landscape. Now if they have a Mystic, we have one Cast Down and a Counterspell. They just have another Muldrifter. Okay. Can't do anything about it. Play a land. There's the Mystic. Aquifer. We have 9 mana. So that's enough to Lorien, Cast Down, and Counterspell. So I guess I Lorien first to try to draw out something. Plus if we get like another Snuff Out, which I think we only have 1 left. But it would be another way to kill the Mystic. Although if we get a Snuff Out and we go to 4, any birds they make is probably going to kill us. We get the Snacker back. Play an Aquifer. I think we just try to cast down their Mystic in their upkeep. So any birds they make can't attack us. Also, if they try to do something like this at the end step, Scred, the Spell Stutter, that's fine, I suppose. Cast down the Mystic. They got the Ephemerate. We're going to Counterspell. Hope that they don't have another Counterspell. They have a Thraben Charm to deal, just get another bird, I guess, to kill the Snacker. Okay. Yep. I mean, yeah, we're taking 3 here, and then they have enough to deal us lethal next turn. If we can't... They take the Monarch, which is fine. I guess I have to get blockers, though. Snuff Out I can hard cast. Well, I guess we're Lorien Revealing. Get this back. I can play a Snacker as a blocker. And I can hard cast the Snuff Out in their upkeep on this Muldrifter. So we're pretty much just dead to a Lightning Bolt. Usually the life from the Snuff Outs isn't super relevant, but we went so long that, eventually it matters. They have a Counterspell for it, okay. They have a Suplex for the Snacker, and we're just going to die to damage. Well, it was a good match. It was a good game. A little unfortunate. Certainly, definitely, I don't know if I played that right. Control versus control matchups, very difficult. How much waiting should you do? Generally, a lot more than any other match. Maybe I waited too long. Maybe I didn't wait long enough. It's a tough spot. In any case, we got a 3-2 with the deck. I tried playing the deck a couple other times and did really poorly with it, so I'm glad we were able to get something out of it. Overall, I think it's pretty sweet. I like this style of deck. I like the control deck, but I will say I like traditional fairies a little bit better with ninjas and things like that. It just fits my playstyle a little bit more, which is, it is controlling, but it's also a little bit tempo, a little bit more aggressive, whereas this one is very much like, it's definitely a very hard control deck. I know that Barf hasn't been playing this list for the past couple months, instead favoring mono blue fairies, so I don't know if that means that this deck just isn't really good in the meta right now or what. So, play it if you want to play it. Thank you so much to my patrons, including my $10 patrons, Howard Granger, Lars, JMW, Luca I, and Josh Greninger. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you all next time.